Hello everyone. Today, I'm introducing the Camera Master, a tool to control your cine cameras externally without taking away your freedom to pilot them or key their transform. First, let's see why you might need it. If I bring a cine camera and take a look at all the parameters, they are kinda a lot. I only need some of these parameters and do not want to scroll up and down to find my stuff. You might think favoriting the parameters will solve the issue, but favorites are not categorized. Also, if you have worked with camera shakes, you know that creating camera shake blueprints and setting the parameters for the purlin noise will take a lot of time. And then you have to duplicate them and create a shake asset for each type of shake, like one small shake, one big shake, horizontal shake, vertical shake, etc. And then, when you add them to your sequencer, you're not able to crossfade or transition from one to another. And if you want them to fade out, you need to set the exact duration in their blueprints. And as you can see here, I cannot mix them. Furthermore, they will only work if you play the sequence, and not when it is paused. If you can preview the shake when the camera is not moving, you can have a better judgment to set the noise parameters. And this is only the purlin shake. If you want to use hand-recorded shakes, you have to go through some extra pain setting up the virtual camera, connecting your phone to Unreal Engine, using the take recorder to record your phone movements, cleaning the curves, etc. Okay, I think that's enough reason to continue watching this video. So, we have a blueprint here that can connect to any cine camera actor and control it. It has all the necessary parameters you need when working with cameras, plus some extra stuff. Let's name my camera something specific like My New Camera. And let's bring a Camera Master blueprint to my scene. I'll add another details panel and lock one of them on the camera and the other one on the Camera Master. To connect my Camera Master to my camera, I am going to open this list, and it will show all the cine cameras in my scene. I am going to find My New Camera and select it. The text on the Camera Master will become green, and it will show the name of the connected camera. You can also key the camera selection, and if you are used to using spawnable cameras, just key the camera selection like this. So, when the sequence is closed, the Camera Master is not connected to anything, and when the sequence is opened and the camera is spawned, it will connect to it. One Camera Master can rule them all. So after connecting the Camera Master to your camera, the workflow will be like this. You add your camera to the sequencer and delete all the tracks except the transform and spawn track if it's spawnable. You can pilot your camera and move it freely and key its transform. Then you control and key all the other parameters using the Camera Master. Now, let's go through the parameters we have in the Camera Master. The first category is the lens settings. You can set your focal length and aperture here. If you wish to set these in your cine camera instead, just disable the override lens and the Camera Master will not control them anymore. If I change the focal length, you can see the focal length on the camera is being changed in real time. But if I change it in the camera, it will not be changed because it is controlled by the Camera Master. The same goes for the aperture. The next section is the crop. Same thing here. If you want to control the crop in your camera, disable the override crop toggle. You can choose between different crop aspect ratios here. We have vertical, square, horizontal, and some wide ones. If you hover over them, you can see their use cases. If you wish to set a custom aspect ratio, just select custom and enter the aspect ratio here. As you can see, all of these are keyable in the sequencer. So you can change your controlled camera at any time, change the lens settings, crop settings, etc. Pretty much anything in the Camera Master is keyable and updated on each tick. Let me move to the next section. In case you've noticed, this demo level comes with the Camera Master. We have a display for each category, going into details. This was the lens control section. The next is the focus section. Let's see the focus parameters. Again, if you prefer to set these in your camera, just turn off the override toggle so the Camera Master does not control them. We have focus types. The first focus type is the manual focus. Just like we have in the Cine camera, you need to key the manual focus distance yourself. This gives the most control in art direction, but takes more manual keying. I'll turn on the focus debug to see where it's in focus. Unlike the debug plane in the Cine camera, the size of this debug plane increases when it goes far, so you won't lose it. Let's decrease the focus distance to bring the plane closer. By the way, this debug plane is hidden in game and render, so don't worry about turning this off before rendering. Next, we have the focus speed. This is for smooth focus changes. If I set it to 0, the changes in focus distance will be instant, and the image will be blurry instantly. Let's try 5 and try that again. You can see it takes a bit of time for the image to become blurry, and let's try 1. It takes ages for the focus to catch up in this case. The next focus type is the auto. It casts a ray from the center of the camera, and it will put the focus wherever the ray hits an object. Just make sure the collision preset is set to block all for your meshes. You don't need to generate simple collisions, because this cast detects complex collisions that every mesh has by default. The next parameter is the autofocus offset. This will offset the focus from what was hit. Let me eject from the camera to show this better. So you can see this marker is actually a mesh and not some UI thing. If I set the offset to something like 1 meter, you can see the focus will move back. The focus speed applies to the auto mode too. That's why it moved smoothly. Let's try -100. And then there is autofocus max trace. This essentially sets how far the ray should look for something to hit. And if it doesn't hit anything, this will become the focus distance. Let's set it to 10 meters. When I rotate this camera, you can see when it doesn't hit anything in the 10-meter distance, it won't look further and just sets the focus there. This is to prevent hitting very far background meshes like mountain meshes and stuff. The last focus type is the tracking. You need to select a target. Let's bring a cube and pick it with this eyedropper, and the focus will automatically be on the cube. When I move the cube, you can see the focus moves with a delay, because the focus speed applies to the tracking mode too. If I set the speed to 1, the focus plane will move even slower. And if I set it to 0, it will move instantly. And lastly, to offset your focus point from the pivot of the target, just set these offsets on each axis. You can also check these displays, each showing one of the focus types. Alright, that's it for the focus. Let's pilot our camera and move to the next section. This was the focus section, and the next one is the lens distortion. The distortion category has the parameters for lens distortion. You can do the negative or positive distortion and set these other parameters to get your desired results. And you can key these in the sequencer, and these displays showcase them. Just right-click on these cameras and pilot them to see the details, and then eject and move on to the next one. Let's pilot our camera and move to the next one. This section was the lens distortion, and the next one is the camera shakes. I like this section the most. You can select different shake types here. The first type is the good old purlin. If you choose the purlin noise for the shake, you can set the noise parameters for each axis, similar to the camera shake blueprint, but much cleaner and easier to use. Let me get rid of this details panel for now. Here, you can set how many centimeters your camera can move in each direction, and then the speed of the noise in each direction. Similarly, you can set how many degrees your camera can rotate around each axis, and how fast each should be. So if I want my camera to shake sideways, I'll set the Y location amount to something like 1 meter, and you can see it moves horizontally. I can increase the speed of it. If I need a smaller vertical noise, I'll set the Z amount to something like 5 centimeters. And let's make it faster, like 10, so you can see how you can achieve interesting results using these parameters. And let's not forget you can key these in your sequencer. I don't personally use the X direction noise because it goes forward and backward, but it's there in case you need it. We have all of these in the rotation section as well. If you want a roll noise, set the X one. Or you can play with pitch and yaw noises. So, you get the idea, right? We also have these overall multipliers. The first one will multiply to all these location and rotation amounts, and the second one will multiply to all of the speeds. So, you can increase or decrease your purlin shakes quickly. The other shake types are some hand-recorded ones I have recorded myself using the virtual camera plugin. The precise shake has some small shakes, and these overall multipliers can control the intensity and speed of the hand-recorded shakes as well. So you can get very different results from each of these shakes by modifying them. Each of these shakes are 60 seconds long, and they are seamlessly looped, so the image will not jump when the duration exceeds 60 seconds. There are walking, jogging, and running shakes, and I literally did the same when recording them. The next two parameters are for making the shakes consistent when rendering multiple times. If you have used camera shakes before, you know that your rendered frames are different when you render multiple times. That's because the purlin shake runs on the game time, and it depends on when and on which frame you started the rendering, and also depends on the warm-up frames count. So it's pretty hard to get the same results in different render iterations. If you want to make your camera shake non-random, you can enable this user-defined time, and then key the time yourself. It works on both the purlin shake and the recorded shakes. Let's set some purlin shake. When I enable this, the shake will stop, because now this is the time that drives the shakes and it's frozen at 0. I will key the time, set the first key at 0, and make sure to set its type to linear, and then hold Alt, drag the key to duplicate it, and put it at the end of my sequence. Let's calculate the time in seconds. My sequence is 150 frames long. If I divide the frames by the FPS, it'll result in seconds. So 150 divided by 30 will be 5, meaning my whole sequence is 5 seconds. So I'll set the end key to 5. Now if I scrub the playhead, you can see the shake is there. It's exactly like the normal camera shake, which only works when the sequence is played. If I go back and forth between 2 frames, you can see the shake is repeated, and it is no longer random. And that's it for the shake section. And the last one is the look at tracking. This is pretty much the same as the look at tracking in the Cine camera, but I added it to the Camera Master as well to make it a one-stop shop for your camera parameters. Same as before, if you want to set these in your camera, turn off this override toggle. We need a target, so let's bring a cube. I'll pick it as the target with this eyedropper, and then enable the look at tracking toggle. And my camera will always look at the target. If you look at something else, it will look at the target again. If I move the cube, my camera will update to keep looking at the cube. And then here's the speed again, to set how fast the camera should try to maintain the look. 0 will be instant, but a small number like 1 will be slow. To offset the look at point from the pivot or the root of the target, you can set offset on each axis. And that's it. This is the start of the Camera Master, and like all my other products, I will update it when I find a feature worthy to be added to it. And early birds always get them at the best prices. Take care and see you soon.